Judge strikes down D.C. ban on handguns outside home. Here, I'll show you a screen cap of what that looks like here. This reading from news.msn.com. The ruling from U.S. District Judge Frederick J. Scullin is the latest in a protracted fight over gun laws in Washington. In 2008, the U.S. Supreme Court issued a landmark decision striking down the city's 32-year-old ban on handguns. Since then, the city has rewritten its laws. Lawsuits have been filed, and even Congress has waded into the fight. In a decision made public Saturday, Scullin concluded that the Second Amendment gives people the right to carry a gun outside the home for self-defense. He cited two U.S. Supreme Court cases as important to his ruling: the 2008 opinion striking down the District of Columbia's ban, and a 2010 ruling involving Chicago's handgun ban. Quote, "There is no longer any basis on which this court can conclude that the District of Columbia's total ban on the public carrying of ready-to-use handguns outside the home is constitutional under any level of scrutiny," wrote Scullin, who was appointed by President George Herbert Walker Bush and is a retired Army colonel. A city official said Sunday, officials would ask for a stay and were weighing an appeal. A bunch of legalese, meaning a city official said they don't want it and they're going to push back. The city rewrote its rules after the 2008 Supreme Court decision. Residents were required to register their guns and keep them in their homes. Gun owners also have to take a safety class, be photographed and fingerprinted, and re-register their weapons every 3 years. Those requirements were challenged in court but upheld by a federal judge in May. Earlier this month. Now, what about this judge didn't he get? Shall not be infringed. Shall not be infringed. I mean, I'm not some Constitution humper. I get it. You know, my rights don't come from a piece of paper. They're inherent. We get that. This guy plays by the government's rules. He is a Supreme Court judge. Or maybe he's not. He's a judge of some kind, and he's in the District of Columbia. Let's see. Supreme Court decision, right. Federal judge upheld the decision that gun owners in D.C. have to take a safety class, be photographed and fingerprinted, and re-register their weapons every 3 years? What a joke. You know, people aren't going to do that, right? I mean, this federal judge, he gets to pretend, I'm keeping the streets safe. You know, those criminals, they're going to have to re-register their weapons, and we're going to have their fingerprints and pictures. Dude, the criminals don't follow the laws, man. When freedom is outlawed, only outlaws will be free. That's indeed the case in D.C., where this federal gun ban is making it such that only criminals are the ones who will be armed. Those who obey the laws are now disarmed. Well, hopefully this decision will reverse that. Earlier this month, Republican Representative Thomas Massie of Kentucky successfully added an amendment to the bill that would block the district from spending any money to enforce local gun laws. This is how I love to see politics work. Just muck it all up, you know. Hey, we just passed a law saying that you have to get your fingerprints and photographs and re-register your weapons, and here's the law, and you better do it. Now here comes a representative saying, well, I just passed a law that says you don't get any money to do that, so good luck trying to enforce it. Massie has conceded his amendment is unlikely to get through the Senate and become law. The lawsuit before Scullin was filed in 2009 by the Washington state-based Second Amendment Foundation. And 3 District of Columbia residents and a New Hampshire resident who said they wanted to carry guns for protection. Alan Gura, the lawyer who represents the group challenging the ban, and who won the 2008 and 2010 Supreme Court cases, said he was very pleased. Ted Guest, a spokesman for the Office of Attorney General and for the District of Columbia, which defended the city's ban, said the city was, quote, studying the opinion and won't comment on its substance. Yeah, way to weasel out of that one. Local DC bureaucrat nonsense. How dare they? Who do they think they are? Don't they walk around with a bunch of security agents? Well, what are those security agents carrying to keep them safe? Guns. Guns keep people safe. If the politicians get it for themselves, then what's the objection to people having guns to defend themselves? The Supreme Court has ruled numerous times the government has no duty to protect you. Oh, sure, they may claim that we enter into a contract with government and revoke some of our rights so that we get some safety in return, but oh no, a 2005 Supreme Court ruling has decided the government and the police have no duty to protect you or anyone. They see a crime being committed in broad daylight, you're on a train, a man's being murdered, police officers there witnessing it, he can just turn the other way. He doesn't even have to. He can watch. He can videotape. He can move over to the next car. There's no duty to protect you. So who is responsible for your defense? You are. It's never been more important to learn how to defend yourself, both with martial arts and with weapons like knives and guns. Because as society deteriorates, as the state crumbles, as it inevitably will without your or anyone else's help, we're going to be left in a situation of a collapsed state. Not anarchy, it is very different, but a collapsed state. And that is what I fear. That is why it is so important to arm yourself, protect yourself. Guns are good, okay?